Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's LinkedIn Live podcast. I'm Kavita, your host, and I'm thrilled to be joined by two experts in AI powered data engineering, Kapil and Tarun. AI is rapidly changing the way businesses handle data, making processes faster, smarter, and more efficient. Today, we'll break down how AI is driving this transformation, explore the key tools and frameworks, and discuss what it means for businesses looking to scale their data operations. So, Kapil, let's start by setting the stage. AI is making waves in almost every industry, and data engineering is no exception. Can you walk us through how AI is reshaping
Sure,
this field?
Kavita. Thanks for having me. So, AI is automating the data engineering in a good way, right? Earlier, we used to have a manual process. We used to have a rule-based process. Now they are being automated, and they are like rely on the self-learning of the system. Traditionally, we used to have ETL pipeline where we generally extract the data, then we generally transfer the data, and then we generally load the data in the another database. But right now, and that requires human interventions. That requires like maybe you need to have some particular person uh, for maintenance and update if there is any changes in the data structure, right? What AI is doing, that it's eliminating that kind of a process. It generally enable the dynamic flow. It generally maybe optimize the pipeline based on the data that it generally get, and it also optimize the workflow and the business need. So there's no intervention from human in the data pipeline at the moment. Then then the thing is that it detects real-time anomalies and improve the data quality without any pre-rules, right? For example, in the traditional way, when you write a ETL pipeline, you normally have your rules that okay, if this data is not empty or if data is not behaving the way it should, then maybe you need to discard it or maybe you need to generally fix it. But using AI, you don't have to do it now. It will generally learn the system and do it by itself. Then again, like I mentioned, it enhance the data formation, understand the relationship between the uh, different data, and it generally enhance the uh, I would say data insights. And lastly, predictive data engineering anticipates trend, suggests proactively that what should be adjusted based on the current data. So all in all, like AI is replacing the manual intervention in the data pipeline.
Okay. So AI is making data engineering more adaptive and intelligent. But what does this mean for business?
Uh,
Why should they care?
yes, Kavita. So like if you have AI in your data seizing data, if you're using AI while taking a decision, it would be really quick. For example, if uh, if the business is running, maybe let's take example of uh, a financial domain where someone needs to generally have these data processing of accepting the loans, right? So, using the AI technology, they can easily take a decision based on the data that they have. Right now, they have more power to take a decision because of AI that gives them a better insights. Second is that AI driven pipeline reduce the operational cost because they are they eliminate the need of team to manage that data pipeline manually. At the moment, what normally do is that you generally assign data engineer, maybe you assign SRI, SRE to maintain the particular pipeline, but that is not required at the moment. If there is any issue, the system will automatically fix that. Then again, the accuracy and the consistency, like these particular system are keep on learning the data behavior and then accurate the data that you need. So that will ensure that you have better data for analysis and and have I mean like high quality data for your decision, and maybe down the line this data can be used for machine learning and those kind of stuff. Then lastly, AI allow businesses to scale seamlessly. I mean, like if there is a like bulk of data, like you have a petabyte of data, right? So don't you don't need to worry about those things earlier, right? These data will be automatically consumed by the AI powered data pipeline, and you will get the data insights from these kind of a thing. So that way you can scale better.
Okay. So that's a great foundation. Now, Tarun, can you break down what an AI driven data pipeline actually looks like? What are the
Sure,
key
sure,
components that make it different from traditional pipelines?
sure, Kavita. First of all, thanks for having me. So yeah, I'll break that down actually. As you mentioned, data pipelines, as Kapil already mentioned, that it's most about the ETL section. So this is like you first extract and then transform and load, right? That's the typical ETL pipeline that's we have seen, right? So now we'll get into like how AI can also give benefit in here. So one cool metric that I was reading about is that Gartner says that only around 15% of the data science projects get completed. Only 15%, right? And it's just completed, not even successful. That much are successful, just completed. So you can see the friction and the amount of issues that would be there, even if like the completion rate is so low, right? So yeah, this is one of the metric that was really interesting to understand, and you must have also seen this meme where the road to AI, which is depicted as a heaven, leads unfortunately to the data hell, right? So people are like uh, very desperate or like very motivated towards creating AI applications, but they get into the data hell only, right? Because they don't have a foundation of data. So that's where like the importance of data pipelines come in, like, and the challenges around that are depicted through those kinds of material. Okay, so yeah, so you can see like this kind of problems come with every data scientist or data engineers, like just after selecting a particular model, ML model, or creating one, right? So after this, the biggest problem is that like they have to figure out the data, right? And from where they can get the data, identifying that, like the sources, and like finally managing it and like creating a pipeline out of it. And even after creating a pipeline, and like you must have seen like on the engineering side, certain source data is changed, right? And that breaks the pipeline. This is a very common problem people are facing, right? And like they solve it like manually as well at certain points, and but this causes a really big issue sometimes, and like the data is lost, and like we have to refill the data, right? So these kind of things can be solved by Gen AI, like even in the form of like early notifications, or in terms of like it could fix it itself as well. Of course, with a manual configuration in between, right? So yeah, this is where the problems around the data pipeline comes in, right? And like now how a GenAI tool would be helping in here is basically uh, at this point, like the data scientist or engineer, what would he do? So basically it would check the source and the target schemas and write some code on that, even if we have got some no code platforms at this time, but these are like really tricky and that can get wrong, right? So Gen AI can help in here, right? They can just take uh, certain prompt and create a configuration out of that. So that part is really done quickly. So certain percentage of time is reduced in here, right? So this is the first part of the extracting part of the pipeline, right? After that, if you see Gen AI and like AI pilots are also helping in business tools as well. So if you have seen like certain business tools, right, business intelligent tools, what happens in there, you write big queries, very big queries over that big data, and they are very like not easy to determine, and like not intuitive as well, right? So founders and CEOs, like they also would be like how to write that queries. For that they also have like business intelligence team, and like they do the queries over the data. Now what they can do is like simply with the help of these GenAI co-pilots over those similar business intelligent tools, right? With those kind of plugins, they just, what they can do is they can just simply query something like why the sales are this week lower than the previous one, right? Or by how much it was lower, right? That would be a better question, I think, right? So that would be turned into a technical query behind the scenes by GenAI, and then that query engine would be querying that, and after the results come in, GenAI again would come into the picture, and it would tell in a very human language that these are the results. The sales were less in like by 20% from the last week, or increased by 50%, like that only. So it's very intuitive now, right? That problem is solved as well. Right, now coming to the third part, the loading part, right? So here also like enormous benefits are done by GenAI in terms of like it can help in a way like how the storage should be optimized, right? So certain queries would be very frequent, and certain would not be, right? And for that certain queries, the data would be very frequent to be fetched as well, right? So it comes as a concept like cold and hot storages, right? So you must have seen this S3 intelligent tiering. It works on similar principle. It automatically detects which files to be put under which storage, and eventually save us some money, right? So these are simply the like the issues around the data pipeline, and like the how Gen AI can get into picture in here, or even AI, right?
Okay, so AI is making pipelines faster and also smarter by ensuring data is structured optimally and anomalies are handled automatically. What are the biggest benefits businesses gain from implementing these AI driven pipelines?
Yeah, yeah, fine. So basically, as I mentioned, like, see, uh, in terms of cost reduction, it directly is supporting that factor. So reducing out the cost in terms of which storage should be going where, right? Speed and efficiency, we already saw in terms of like how quickly we can query it. We don't need to know the underlying table names, right, or the field names. We can just query it, and it would be converted into SQL or some other query language, right? So speed and efficiency would be solved. It would be real time in terms of analytics. We would be able to create pipelines over that as well, right, to give you an analytical data in real time, right? And scalable, it would be once you have reduced the cost, and like you have figured out the storage part, it would be more scalable in terms of that. So these are the four factors, I think. Yeah, it would be really like helping the businesses.
Okay. So, Tarun, let's talk about implementation.
Hmm.
If a business wants to build AI powered data pipelines, what are the best tools and frameworks available today?
Sure. So yeah, these are some good tools that you have mentioned in here, right? I see that many plugins are created over this, AI based plugins are created over this. So the three layers that I mentioned, right, we can go through that as well, right? So at every layer, what kind of AI based tool is present, we can discuss about that definitely, right? So if you see, like, to generate pipelines, the first task, like to create a configurable pipeline. So you must have seen like in the past, like so many no code pipelines are pipeline configurators are there, right? Like Hivo, Airflow. You can just go to the portal and like define certain like source and targets, and define the mapping as well, right? It would be a no code, and it would be easier, but not now coming to the new rise. GenAI is like taking one step further on that. what it does, like I've seen serious recently Matillion, like Matillion is powered, which is powered by AWS services. Is what it does is basically taking the raw PRDs from the product development time, right, and the source database schemas, just taking that information and feeding it into LLM, right. It creates the pipeline itself. So you can understand like how the GenAI is taking a step further on top of those no code tools, right. And like definitely there would be certain configuration or manual layer in between, otherwise like it would be pipeline automatically getting created, and like no one is looking into that. But yeah, so for that, Matillion also has created a like a layer over that, like where a UI is present and people can like enable the switch or not, right, based on it is correct or not, right. From the other layer, which is about this querying the like the business intelligence tool, right. So on that, like as I mentioned, like Databricks Assistant and Snowflake co-pilots, these kind of co-pilot, they can transform your query and like it into a technical query and answer back in a human language. These kind of tools we can use, right. On the third side, as I mentioned, S3 intelligent tiering. Apart from that, there is Google Big Lake as well, right. So these kind of tools you can definitely use and like get things faster.
Okay, so we've talked about the current landscape, but let's look ahead. Kapil, how do you see AI evolving in data engineering
Uh,
over the next
well,
few
Kavita,
years?
I feel that AI will enable fully autonomous data engineering workflow, and that will reduce the human interventions. It automatically heal the data pipeline if there is any disruption in the pipeline, and it will also find the defects and fix those things itself. Then we will have AI generated data model that will be more common, and that will improve the data structure optimization as well. Then there would be edge computing and AI driven real time processing. For example, you can take the example of IoT devices, maybe a video streaming. So if I mean, those would be put in the edge computing. So there would be faster processing over there as well. Then there would be AI powered data governance, which will improve the compliances and the security of highly regulated industries like finance and healthcare. Then there is a like it is automatically proven that the auto ML or AI powered database tuning will make this data engineering task very easy, especially the task which is related to the machine learning. For example, if somebody wants to generally create a, I mean, like maybe wants to try out what are the prediction model which can help for a specific data, then AutoML does what an AutoML does is that it generally implies all the particular algorithms, and then it will find out, okay, this particular algorithm is suited for this particular data. So those particular kind of a things would be a kind of a new norm, because that will require no human intervention. You just generally push the data to the AutoML, and it will generally tell you, okay, this particular type of model will suits this kind of a data. Then the data, I mean, decision for those kind of picking up the data model or like particular algorithm would be much easier. Then AI will bridge the gap between data engineering and data intelligence, because when they consume the particular data, it'll generally generate more insights rather than a data analyst. It'll generally generate more insights based on the data. So definitely it'll uh, improve the industry altogether. And then and it'll make data more accurate, more intelligent, and then it'll rely on less human intervention.
Thanks. So that wraps up our discussion on AI powered data engineering. A big thank you to Kapil and Tarun for sharing their expertise. If you enjoyed this session, follow us for more conversations on AI and data engineering. Connect with our speakers and let's keep the discussion going. Until next time, stay curious
Okay.
and keep innovating.
Bye.
See you
Thanks for your
soon.
time. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you.